So today we're going to do this problem on derivatives. So firstly, let's just write the problem down. It says find an equation. So it says find an equation for all tangent lines drawn to the graph of y equals 1/2 x squared plus 3x plus 3 from the point 0, 1. So what this problem basically means is, so I have this graph right here, right? So if I'm going to draw this out, it's probably going to look something like this. Probably something like that. And we know that the point 0, 1 is somewhere over here. Wait, no, it's somewhere over here on the y-axis. We want the equation of the tangent lines, because there's more than one line that is tangent, drawn from this graph to this graph, from this dot to this graph here. This is a tangent line. This is also a tangent line. And we want to find the equation of these two lines. Because there's only two tangent lines, as you can see from the graph. So to solve this, we can use the fact that we can first find the derivative of this graph here. So the derivative of this graph is 1/2 times the derivative of x squared, which is 2x, plus 3 times the derivative of x, which is just 1, plus 3 times the derivative of 1, which is just 0. So the derivative of this graph over here is x plus 3. If that is a derivative, then so now let's review the concept of derivative. A derivative is basically when I choose any point on the line. Okay, let me use a different color. Any point on this line, this random point here. What is the slope of my tangent line, of the line tangent to this graph on this line? So what is the slope of this red line? Well, the derivative provides the slope. So if we know the x-coordinate of this point, we would know the slope is that x-coordinate plus 3. So this is the slope of the equations of the tangent lines, meaning that these two tangent lines have this slope, have this slope of x plus 3. So we want to find out where the green points are, and we have to find the x-coordinates specifically. But firstly, how do we get a slope of a line, without the derivative thing? How do we get a slope of a line? Well, it's y2 minus y1 over x2 over minus x1. And we can assume that we know that one of the y coordinates is going to be 1, because 0, 1, right? That's x. We can assume that's x2, y2. y2 is going to be 1. x2 is going to be 0. What's y1? Well, y1 is going to be this thing right here, because the other point, the green point, is on the graph with this equation, so we can just plug that equation in. And what's x1? x1 is just going to be x, the x-coordinate of, say, this point, or this point. And this equation, it gives us the slope of the tangent lines, right? So this is, and the slope we also know from the derivative is x plus 3. So now we only have to solve for this equation here, which isn't that hard because we know how to solve quadratics. So we can first multiply both sides by negative x. Therefore, we have 1 minus 1/2 x squared. So if we remove the brackets, we have this equals negative x squared minus 3x. Because this is negative x. if we multiply both sides by negative x, there will be no denominator, and here we have negative x squared minus 3x. And secondly, we notice we can just like the negative 3x's on both sides cancel out. We can add x squared to both sides. So now we have 1/2 x squared minus 2 equals 0. So 1/2 x squared equals 2x squared equals, if we multiply both sides by 2x squared, x squared is 4. So x is going to be plus minus 2. So this means that the coordinates of the x coordinates of these points is negative 2 and 2. Well, how do we find the equation then? Well, now that we know the x coordinate, we can first find the slope using the derivative of this graph. So the first slope, which we'll call m1, is going to be negative 2 plus 3, which is 1. Now we know the slope, we can write the equation in point slope form. We know that in point slope form we have y minus y1 equals m1 times x minus x1. So we can plug 0, 1 in as y1 and x1. We have y minus 1 equals m1, which is 1, times, so 1 times x minus 0, because the x coordinate of this point is 0. So if we actually evaluate this, we have y minus 1 equals x, which is our first equation. Let's take a look at our second equation. The second equation, we have a slope of 2 plus 3, which is 5. And again, we can write it in point slope form. So we have y minus 1 equals 5 times x minus 0. So that is y minus 1 equals 5x.